If there is one thing that I've learned so far in my 34 years on this planet, it's that Auburn's going to let me down. Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong speech. It's that a lot of people don't understand that two things can be true at once. And when it comes to Colorado and Deion Sanders, that is overwhelmingly the case when people just take sides totally on opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, there have been two groups that have been created by the national sports media. One group is that you think Colorado in prime is the greatest team ever and the greatest thing that ever happened to college football. And the second group is that you hate him in Colorado because of some unfounded reason, whether it be racism or something stupid like that. But the truth is, there is a heavy middle ground that isn't nearly as toxic as either one of those sides. Now, yes, what Prime and Colorado have done so far has been very impressive. In fact, the Buffs have already really won in the regular season in the grand scheme of things this year. You've already hosted two of the biggest game day shows. It's been all over the media. You've gotten a ton of PR, and Colorado is now a very enticing program for big-time players to attend, and Prime has done a hell of a job. But also true is that Colorado is not an elite team. They still have a long way to go, and it's mainly up front. And that Deion Sanders is not the greatest coach to ever grace the earth. Still got a lot to prove. Now, we as a society have an awful problem of not being able to see the middle ground, and instead we just jump to one side so we can take to the social media battlefield. It also doesn't help when prominent sports media members overhype a certain side to a degree that it actually leaves you questioning if they even watch college football. Now, most people don't hate Prime. They don't hate Colorado. What they do hate is the obvious overhype that got exposed this past weekend. They hate that certain narratives constantly get shoved down our throat every second of available airtime during what has been an insane year of college football already. It's been fantastic. We are literally living in the Walking Dead era of casuals since this whole Colorado thing started. Hell, I can't go to my mailbox without having to fight my way through at least 4 casuals. I feel like the guy from The Walking Dead with the mullet and the crossbow. So, let's take a deep breath, all right? Let's enjoy when an underdog comes up for a little bit, but let's also live in reality, because two things can be true at once. And the quicker we all understand that, the better off we all will be. And we're always better off with my co-hosts, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver. And guys, it kind of got drawn out into the open in a minute. I've got a couple receipts after tweeting out a clip from an actual mainstream media sports show, which I can't believe it was actually said. But, David, do you think the hype train finally slows down a little bit now and that people will actually put their swords away so we can move on?
Well, it certainly will slow down a little bit after a loss like that, but I still feel like Deion Sanders is playing with house money.
For sure.
I mean, the surprising part was not getting blown out by Oregon. I thought that we said that was going to happen all summer long. The surprising part was being able to beat TCU and be able to beat Nebraska the way that they did. Like, that's what was really exciting. And I've never seen anything like this, because you have so many people now pulling for a team who aren't fans of that team. It's almost like legitimate Colorado fans are sort of the collateral damage, because most people pulling for that team now just happen to be Deion Sanders fans. And yeah, there's just something really weird about it, because it's not like he's the first Hall of Fame player to then turn into a coach. We said Eddie George is like coaching an HBCU school. We hadn't heard that much about it at all. It's not like he's the first black head coach to have success at the Power 5 level. Even at Colorado, Mel Tucker won 5 games there, took off to Michigan State. Wasn't anything like this. It is just the Deion Sanders effect. Like, he is a PR machine, man. He's like navigated his brand like this his entire career. But if you live by the PR machine, sometimes you die by the PR machine, like in a situation like this. But like, he came out, like, he owned it. Like what I said yesterday, you should look at this Oregon team that just demolished you on the other side and aspire to be what they've been able to build, right? Like, that would be a great situation to be in. And next year, with all the players that you return, like, he's riding 5 players basically right now. If you return those guys And then at every other position, you're able to recruit not just at the high school level, but in the transfer portal now and get depth on that roster. In a year where Colorado is moving to the Big 12 and Texas and Oklahoma are leaving in the same year, like you should be building towards next year. But there would be no shame in that, except the messaging has been, no. Next year, Colorado's going to win the Pac-12 this year. Colorado's a national championship contender. Deion Sanders is the best head coach in the country, and then something like that happens. Whereas otherwise, there would have been no shame in something like this.
Yeah, and Blaine, I mean, look, I think Prime has been great. I love the way that I'm not talking about Deion Sanders. I'm talking about people in the media and in general, just the casualness that has come out. And the same point, it's created a ton of Colorado fans. Do you think a lot of this overhype has created a bunch of anti-Colorado fans now as well?
I would say probably, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to that. But I think Deion's done, man, he's probably brought a lot of new faces to college football. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing somewhat. So if you are a new fan of college football, if you find yourself watching Colorado, hell, if you find yourself watching football, you probably find yourself watching this show. And if you're watching the show, it's a good thing. We've seen this before with coaches turning a program around, like Deion has. Hell, Willie Taggart did it. We've seen plenty of guys do it, but I've never seen
Willie Fritz.
Willie Fritz, excuse me.
I've
never seen a coach be able to just have so many mainstream things bleed into everything on a campus, right? Everything on Colorado now, when it comes to buying a coffee or going shopping or going to the campus store, everything's football. Everything's Deion. It's money, and he's building this program for what? The future. You already won, 3 games? Mm-hmm. You don't have to win another game and you'd be fine. Now, the messaging is going to be a little bit different when it's 4 weeks down the road and you've got your brains beaten in the last 4 weeks, which I think USC is probably going to do again this week. But what Deion has already prepared, like this
it's a win.
This is going to be a six-course meal here.
Yeah.
All right, so you need to be here for the long haul. The apps might not be great early, but I promise you want to stay for the main course, and that'll probably be in a couple of years. But this is the thing that I wonder about. Next year, you're going to be better, of course. All right? But what happens when your son's gone at quarterback? All right, what happens when Travis Hunter's gone?
I don't think he'll have a problem bringing in players to Colorado now. I mean, just
quarterback-wise, you don't know. Like you have your son's a first rounder, right?
Yeah. You never know. But you put a guy in the first round of the NFL draft, son or not, you're going to get somebody who's next up that wants to go play for him. Like again, it's exactly the same recipe that Nick Saban's built at Alabama and Kirby Smart's built at Georgia. Not saying that Colorado's going to be them. Guys want to play in the NFL. The best pitch still to recruits is, and even guys in the portal, is that we can get you to the NFL to make the most money being the highest draft pick consistently. That's what we want. You put the spreadsheet in front. The NFL. NIL's great. That's a big part of it. Colorado's raised a bunch of money. But the best pitch is still, I can get you to the NFL because all the recruits, let alone the top ones, believe they're going to play in the NFL. And my point is not that it's great that it's brought a bunch of eyes to college football. That's fantastic. I want college football to be the most popular thing ever. I want football to be the most popular sport in the world. I've freely admitted that multiple times. But again, I am talking about the media members that have been overhyped and have diluted the water with these crazy expectations. And it really kind of, in one way, it's good because it kind of exposes some people that really don't know what they're talking about. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some receipts real quick. Okay. I put out a clip of Greg Jennings, which I'm going to show you at the end, and just basically disagreed with him because he said Colorado, it's so disrespectful, they're a 21-point underdog. So, at mixtape_Wayne, after I put this out, said, thank you. Bo Nix has been trashed since Auburn. Turnover machine, boys. Y'all acting like Colorado can't move the ball at will. Well, I don't know who Will is, but I know who Bo Nix is, and he's probably top 3, top 4 in the Heisman right now, and lit Colorado up like a bonfire. Colorado didn't move the ball at all. They were lucky to score 6 at the end. So mixtape_Lil Wayne, why don't you casually take your casual ass out of this conversation? Give me the next one here. Sully at IC Sully said Texas Tech had Oregon shivering. But y'all want to ignore that because Oregon beat Portland State in Hawaii. Tell me you don't watch college football. Well, Sully, if I don't watch college football, then you're more blind than Helen Keller is because you saw what happened on Saturday. Please, casually leave the room. Thank you. Next. Here we go. This is a great one. Javon Edmonds is a reporter for The Messenger, which has over 40,000 followers on Twitter. Says it's 2023. Is 2023 not the college football era, college football playoff era? I ask again, who's respected defensively in the Pac-12 other than Washington and Utah? My response is very simple. Right now, half the Pac-12 is ranked in the top 50 in total defense. Tell me you don't watch college football. The Pac-12 has totally transformed. So Javon Edmonds, why don't you make like Jim Edmonds, run out to center field and get the hell out of here? Next up, Gates like Isaiah says, I don't agree with the examples he used for the argument, but I agree with the argument the 21-point line seems too high. I like Oregon in the direction they're moving, but they almost lost to Texas Tech last week. So let's not act like the Ducks are this juggernaut. Right now, David, they're looking like the juggernaut so much, I think they're about to run through a wall with going head first.
Well, it turns out the 21-point line was disrespectful.
It was.
To Oregon.
To Oregon. Yeah. That's
no, this is good. And do you have the video that you brought up?
Talking about Greg Jennings?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got that, but I got to show you this last one.
Okay.
Let's bring up this last. This is what I was talking about getting split into the two groups. This is at LiveHard 541-884. They defense is better than Oregon. This is a fact. We know the real reason this guy posted this. White people waiting to see Deion fall.
This has been the narrative that's been created throughout the summer anytime we would point out things, or even when Tom Luganbill was talking about the roster at Colorado like that. And it's one of the things that I don't understand, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking in your open that the problems are less with Deion Sanders and more about some of the people who are coming out like this here.
That's exactly.
And one of the things I realized, I was trying to think about this last night when we were talking about this topic, is some people want to put a chip on their shoulder so badly, they're willing to be disingenuous or tell lies.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'll give you a great example, man. When we were watching The Last Dance, you remember Michael Jordan talking about some of the defenders who would guard him, and he would say that they said things so that he could put a chip on his shoulder and go score 63 the next night, and then come to find out when a reporter would say, did so-and-so really say that? He'd be like, nah, they never said it. It doesn't matter if they said it or not. I needed to score 63 that night. I needed to be the greatest ever. I needed to win a 6th championship. Michael Jordan needed to do that. And so you're seeing a lot of people in situations that are not, winning championships say, you know what, so-and-so didn't say that about Deion Sanders or Colorado, and that's not how they feel, but I'm going to say that's how they feel about it because that puts a chip on my shoulder. That allows me to be an underdog. I've seen that more and more on social media, where it's the easiest place to do that because you're not face-to-face with someone.
Oh, that's exactly right. We have a lot on our schedules. There's a lot all of us have to do every day, especially if you're running the kids around, prepping for the holidays. Halloween's right around the corner. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. But the good news is you can take one big thing off your plate by putting great meat on your plate with Good Ranchers. All right, Good Ranchers, they're 100%. They have 100% American-sourced beef, chicken, pork, and now wild-caught seafood, and it's wildly good. We have Good Ranchers all the time here. We talk about it. I actually got the butcher's box on the way. New York strips, ribeyes. I got the ground beef. I got the chicken. It's a fantastic time. You got the pork box sent to your house?
Pork box, and then Friday night we had steaks for dinner, which the best part about having steaks on Friday night is on Saturday morning I get steak and eggs for breakfast.
I tell you what, that right there,
Yep.
That's the special teams of meals, using it to make breakfast the next morning. And right now, they're offering 2 years of free ground beef to anyone who subscribes in the world. That's a $480 value. That's 2 years of free high-quality ground beef and a locked-in price. So go to goodranchers.com today and use our code BOOSTER, and you'll get an additional $25 off and that free ground beef for 2 years. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. Remember, subscribe to any box to lock in your price on America's best meat for 2 whole years. That's goodranchers.com. Use our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. That's over $500 in savings. Subscribe to Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. That person's obviously a stupid person. It's the same thing. I didn't even reply because he didn't deserve the time of day, but I want to be like, man, that's amazing because I picked Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame to go 11-1. So either I'm the worst racist of all time or you're an idiot. And then you get exposed for being disingenuous. Some people just want to be victims so bad because they want to find an excuse for why their life's not working out the way they wanted it to. It's an excuse. It's a crutch most of the time. But the worst one, And this was what I quoted in the tweet. This is a video clip of First Things First, which would be the last thing I would watch now after this. And I got a lot of respect for Nick Wright, actually. He kind of looks like kind of got some Geico caveman hair going right here. But this is Greg Jennings, who was a hell of a player in the NFL, but obviously does not watch college football. And this is the best example of the overhyped train the media's created. Let's play it real quick.
The question.
But right. My point is, like, the fact that has Colorado truly been stopped? I mean, they played better defenses, TCU, and then Nebraska, the big bruising Big Ten type style of defense. Like, they hung up 31 on them. So they've not shown that they can't score against anyone. So we don't look at Oregon or anyone in the Pac-12, like, or Pac-12, as if they're solid on defensively. Why all of a sudden are they 21-point favorites when you got a team that averages 41 points in Colorado? In the Oregon Ducks, they average 46.
Like you said.
I don't know, Greg. Maybe because they haven't played a team like Oregon yet. Like when you're look, if you believe that Colorado is going to score, that's one thing. But don't use the case of they don't play defense in the Pac-12 or not, when one of the biggest stories in college football right now is the emergence of the physicality of the Pac-12 and that they're actually playing defense. And then you act like TCU has some great defense after they just got hit up for 65 with Cajun fries and a sweet tea, Arnold Palmer lemonade mix the year before. And this team is obviously not even that same team. So it just...
And Nebraska played good defense.
Nebraska did play good defense.
Nebraska was on the field the entire game.
But this is good for us. This is good for us.
100%
Those are low-resolution narratives from a couple years ago that if you were just taking like the bulletin boards of different conferences, these are the things you would say. But this is good for us. When I say us, I mean us on this show, because I calculated the other day, I'm watching over 30 hours of football per week, which I know to a lot of people that sounds like it's all fun and games, but that's a lot. That takes a toll on our families and our personal lives to watch that many games, college football and the NFL, so that we know what we're talking about. And the second that a narrative changes or that we thought something was going to happen, but now it's looking like it's different, we come on here and say that. You can only do that if you're actually watching the games and seeing what's going on.
That's true. There's a nuance to watching it. You got to get a feel for it.
What's up with Nick's hair, man?
I don't know.
Looks like he's in 47 Ronin.
Never a doubt.
Like I'm gonna come in there pouring hot water over his hand.
And I think Nick's...
No, Nick does a great job. He's got a haircut, dude. You look ridiculous.
But like nobody pushes back. Like there's no way I think I could ever be on like one of those First Things First. Because I'd be like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Greg?
Skip!
What? Skip! you tripping, Skip.
Oh,
I'd be like, no, Greg, like, hold on, let me hold your hand like a 5-year-old in Walmart.
Just go watch Utah and Florida, that Utah and Florida game, and close your eyes and listen to the first quarter of them hitting and tell me no one plays defense.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Stick to the NFL, Greg. You do know that. YouTube, what is up? Hey, do us a favor. You're enjoying the content, whether you agree with us, you disagree with us, or you're just having fun in the chat, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on that notification bell and smash that thumbs up button. We'd really appreciate it.